Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Women's Coffee Club. We created this club for women to have a safe space to share and inspire each other. So I am so excited to see all of you, especially several of you, my old friends who are here. So excited. And we're so grateful to have Silke Harvey here, who will be our special guest this morning. She'll be presenting a topic that is about her travel experience, her journey from the UK to the United States solo. It was a solo traveler backpacking. I can't wait to hear what her story and her journey on this. So with that, welcome again, everyone. Thank you for coming. And Silke, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to choose this topic, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. So first of all, thank you, Rini, for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be in this group. It's always great fun. And my name is Silke Harvey, and I'm the CEO of Inner Hippie Books. So that's a publishing house I run specifically for women and female entrepreneurs who are all awakened to the fact that we're entering the golden age and who are wanting to lead the way ahead to the golden age. And so I work a lot with female empowerment and coaching women who want to write their stories, because writing your story is very empowering in itself and gives you a voice and gives you a chance to take up your space in society, because your voice gets out there to lots of people. And within the whole topic of female empowerment, I particularly like the topic of solo travel. I've been a solo traveler myself all of my life. Even though I've been married 31 years, I've still gone off and done my own thing, as well as doing joint stuff, because I really feel that traveling solo is very important to empower yourself, to increase your own confidence, and to actually become a more, should we say, capable person. You get faced with so many different challenges along the way that you really learn how to cope in all sorts of situations. And that's a very important skill, I feel, especially for women, because traditionally over the centuries or even millennia, women have been always in second place to the men, always have been at home and doing things as they were told by men as well, quite often throughout history. So there is an ongoing thing, almost like an ancestral wound, that women still carry inside of us. We all carry it inside of us. This idea that we need somehow outside validation for the things that we do, and that we need outside help a lot. But that's not true, because we have the power, everything that we need inside of ourselves. And as soon as we realize that and wake up to the fact, we can step up in our private life, in our business, and actually start taking up a proper full place in society, and we can live our lives the way they're intended to be, as equals on this planet. And so last year, my most recent solo trip was a trip to the USA, and I went for 6 weeks, just with nothing more than a carry-on backpack. So I always like to travel carry-on, because it's just so much easier in this day and age, with luggage getting lost all over the place, and it's just so much nicer at airports. You can just walk through. But so I went with my backpack, and I bought an Amtrak ticket, one of those monthly rail passes, and I crisscrossed the US from New York to New Orleans to Los Angeles to Sedona, then a short off trip with my friend into Colorado, then back down to the Amtrak again, back to LA, to Austin, Oklahoma City, and the very last leg then from Oklahoma City back to New York on the Greyhound bus. So
Wow.
that was one big adventure.
Wow. That's amazing.
So I wanted to really tell you a bit about it because quite a few of you knew I was going and were really curious and wanted to find out some of the stories along the lines. But before I go off, I would love to find out from any of you here, have you traveled solo before, or have you got any great experiences or thoughts about traveling solo? Let's just
Val, go
open up
ahead.
the conversation.
Yes, let's open up for discussion. Val, go ahead.
Well, I'm Silke. I'm passionate about travel. From a very young age, I knew I would live abroad. That was my dream. From 9 years old, I wanted to live abroad and speak English.
Mhm.
And along the way, when you go through life, well, you get to do what your parents are doing. And all of a sudden, I realized I'm not doing what I want to do.
Val, let the group know where you're from to begin with.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you, Rini. Well, I'm Val, one of the founder actually with Rini and Binta with the Women's Coffee Club, although I'm not too active. But anyway, my name is Val Fagan, and I'm very happy to attend this meeting. You guys are my girls, my girls of the week, So nevertheless, to go back to the subject of traveling, from a very young age, I wanted to live abroad and speak English, and realized that I was not living my dream at the age of 28. And that's when I decided, backpack, passport, cash, off I go. And my family said, oh, in 3 months, you'll be back. 5 years. 5 years. I lasted. But it was a great experience to do that in Europe, because not only you travel in different places, the culture are different, the language is different. I love learning. I love immersing myself in different culture when I go and visit or stay for a little while. So what all this brought to me was really a high confidence of being in charge of your own life, because it was not that I had a home somewhere. No, my home was my backpack, and I was just, finding a restaurant to be able to be fed, finding a backpacker's house, with dorms and stuff to have a place to sleep. And the rest, you just enjoy the day and find little jobs here and there, and getting to know the people where you live, so I learned how to speak Greek a little bit. So I live in Athens, Greece for a while, going to the islands, and that was a fantastic time. And it helped me also, I think, staying young in my mind and in my heart, knowing that there are other people other than the people who surrounds me in my community that I'm interested to meet or talk to, or even watch, people watching when you go somewhere. There you go. That was my take. So yeah, great topic. I'm in love with traveling and backpacking too.
So Val, were you from France originally?
Yes, I was born in Bordeaux, France. Yes. And I left backpacking for good. I left France at the age of 27 and a half, 28. And since then I went across the I decided that Europe, I couldn't find a place really where this is where I wanted to somehow settle down. So I didn't want to do England because I had done it. And the weather in England is just, and it was not far enough from France too. It was not far enough. I wanted to go to Australia first, like straight down. My mom said, no, don't go that far. So I changed my mind and went to the United States. And while traveling, you meet people also from all around the world, especially when you backpack, so I had a little address book, backpackers, I think, at least it was like this, because this was 25 years ago. But people exchanging addresses saying, you always have a couch in those people's house, you always have a place to stay. It's like the code, we're backpacking, we're traveling, we're in transit. So like the good Airbnb type of style, sleeping on the couch. So I've done that too. Mhm.
Yeah, I noticed that in Europe, I don't know if it's the culture or what, because you have the Ural, I know students would go to Europe and take the Ural buy the Ural pass and travel all over. Of course, the countries are so small that you can go from one country to the next on the same day, practically. So, but I don't know if it's a culture thing. But thank you, Val. That was interesting and amazing. And Carla, you're next.
Hello, I'm Carla Kopp, and my dream since 1996, my first cruise, was to live on a cruise ship. So this last October, I retired and took my first 28-day cruise in November. The second one was just recently for 15 days and in the Caribbean. And then the first one was Hawaii. This one was Caribbean. I'm scheduled for one in March with the Abraham Hicks group, and that will be in the Caribbean also. And then December will be a trip to Africa, and I am beyond excited for that one. So I love cruising. I'm not at the point where I think I could do the just go to Europe and back with a backpack and find everything, because I don't know. That just doesn't sound like me. But I am getting braver and better. I noticed since this last cruise, we went on an amazing zipline excursion, and it was so much fun and so challenging. And I feel more empowered since I came back. I mean, now I'm starting to get ideas of, okay, so I want to do this, and I want to, so I just love traveling. And I'm also a member of the group, Solo and Style Women Over 50, traveling solo and loving it. And that is a huge, tons of information, and it's a great, you see adventures of everyone, and it's a really good group to be in. So that's my story. I'm going to keep it up.
Thank you, Carla. Go ahead, Silke, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've just seen here in the chat, Omeka has been traveling solo as well. Would you like to tell us a bit about it?
Omeka?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But time is an illusion, so I still have those memories. And yeah, it was amazing. I really felt kind of fearless. And okay, I have a face. And I was doing some stretching. Yeah, oh, just so many lessons learned. I went to study. This is when about time I changed my name to Omeka, or added it. Also I was studying the ancient Olmecs and the Mayans and climbing pyramids, and yeah, just trusting myself. In and of that was amazing to just go. I speak some Spanish, so it's not like I was going to a country where I didn't know the language at all. That would have been more challenging. I've done that with other people since, but yeah, I'm grateful for my mom and just my spirit. Me, my mother, and my brother been traveling for more than 50 years, and I love traveling. I've been to Cuba, Indonesia, all these other places were with other people, Mexico, Jamaica, East Africa, West Africa. So yeah, I'm looking forward to figuring out, and money is most of it. I had to travel being a caregiver to my mom. So I'm like, okay, I need an extra couple $1,000 to be able to pay the person to be here with my mother. So, or who knows how else. I'm open, created to other ways of having her being care given while I'm away, and or her being at a point where she can come with me. So yeah, due to physical, I won't even call them limitations, but challenges. Right now, it's not a good time for that, but I'm open to the possibility, because she's been to China, she's been to Africa. I don't know how many times. I have an African art gallery for years, and she just been all over Portugal and yeah, different parts of Africa, and on and on. So yeah, I'm a traveler in many senses of the word. Now I'm just astral traveling. and then appreciating that. So yeah, thanks for this topic. I was excited
Thank
just
you.
hearing about it. Yeah. Solo
Thank
travel
you.
will happen again. Thank you for the topic.
Thank you, Omeka. That was amazing. Kasia, you're next.
Good morning. As I'm listening to your stories, I'm like, oh my goodness, those girls are so brave. I mean, I've traveled a lot in my life from the perspective and from the fact that I was born in Poland. Because, at the beginning of my life, we were not allowed to travel much, and especially not to the West. And but then when I was a teenager, I did go around Europe quite a lot compared to average Polish person, because my parents, my mother had a private business, so I was, we were lucky enough to have more money. And so I've been at different places, but never like, you guys are speaking, like alone with the backpack. I always had like, a group of people. I always had a group of friends that we would go together. Most often I would be the person who would be planning everything from A to Z, but never like, I'm going alone. So that's like really new to me. I mean, of course I know people do it, but I don't know if I would be brave enough just to go by myself. When I moved 20 years ago to United States, we travel a little bit around here with my husband and my daughter as she was young. So as for somebody fresh off the boat, I did see quite a lot of America. I even went to Mexico. But later on, I was traveling again a lot back to Europe, but just with my daughter, because we got a dog 15 years ago, and that good dog is severely injured by vaccines, so he requires sometimes a lot of help, and he's really easily getting sick from so many things. And I cannot leave that dog with nobody. So this dog made our vacationing kind of impossible. I mean, we still can vacation, but never as the full family. Even right now, my friends are in Dominican Republic, and I almost went. I almost paid, but I didn't have anybody to leave the dog with. So I stay at home. But wow, what an interesting concept. I can only say that despite the fact that I was never traveling alone, I know for the fact that if you travel outside of your own country, it's like traveling outside of your this safe zone, right? You know everything around your town. You go from home to school or to work and blah blah. I mean, you can travel with your eyes all closed, right? You go to unknown with different languages. You guys speaking English, going around, this is so much easier for you. But when I was young, I didn't speak zero English, so it's much challenging. Yet you still learn different cultures. So when I came to United States, I knew United States from the movies, right, from the TV, and I felt like I'm gonna end up in a place like Los Angeles, where there will be so many people from all over the world, and I will not have to travel to meet the people and meet different places, going to different restaurants, eating food with different flavors, and I ended up actually in the Yakima Valley here in Washington State, and I didn't get that Los Angeles thing or New York thing, because mostly there are here people from South America, like Mexico, because it's an agricultural place. So I really, you know, at the beginning, even when I was not speaking English, and then in situations when I could not find something by myself, people were always assuming I'm from Mexico. And, you know, I remember a situation at the store when I was for the first time looking for the flour because I was making pierogi at home. And people were panicking because they were screaming at each other. I mean, kind of, you know, asking for help because who speaks Spanish? Who speaks Spanish? Because we need help. And that's my end of traveling for now. But I know it's coming again, but not alone. I really want to travel with my husband. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Miriam was asking why you didn't travel with your dog, but yeah, I would imagine that would be difficult to do.
This is he has, first of all, he has traveling anxiety. So if I go to the veterinary doctor from my house down the hill, like 1.5 minutes in a car, he's pounding, and and the funny fact is that he is a size of Labrador, right? And you would not expect such a big, brave dog would have anxiety in the car. So no, and I cannot take him to anybody because he's allergic with different things and food from all three spectrum, from inhaling, from basic contact with skin, and from food. So, and because he's Labrador, so he's always hungry, and because of his allergies, he's always hungry as well. So when we would get him to visit with our friends who have other animals, my dog is always on the journey to eat everybody else's food, which he's ending right away getting sick. So it's I mean we can talk about my dog for probably whole day, but you know, maybe next time.
Thank you, Kasia, for that. And Binta, you're next. I saw Amy, I saw your hands up, but Binta, you're next.
Hi everyone. Good morning.
Morning.
Silke, you were in New Orleans. You know, I live in New Orleans. I wish you'd reached out.
Yeah,
we could have
never
shown you
realized.
around. Valerie lives in New Orleans too.
Yeah.
How did you like New Orleans?
It's an amazing place. I wanted to move there.
Yeah.
I mean, the music and everything. I'm a musician, so when I hit Bourbon Street and saw the first blues musician playing, I thought I was in heaven.
Ah, that's also awesome. Yeah, I live not far from Bourbon Street.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm happy that you came and you enjoyed it. I love the topic of traveling. My dream is to travel all over the world. And the first time I traveled, of course, I was a little girl traveling from people from Africa to Europe. That was my very first time, and I can remember as a young girl, because where I come from, in my culture, you know, in those days anyway, girls are not supposed to wear pants. so those people, imagine me, a young girl with diplomats, and at the airport, you know, we were going to Europe, to Germany, and they were like, you cannot go with your African clothes, you got to put on some jeans. And I was like, I'm not putting on any jeans, I'm not gonna wear any jeans. And I started like fuss about, they say, you're gonna freeze to death if you don't wear jeans. So they decided to buy me. So I said, people are gonna laugh at me if I put on some jeans. If I put on pants. So they said, who's gonna laugh at you? So they went and bought me some jeans right there at the airports, and they put them on me. And then they said, look around, who's laughing at you now? Anyway, that's another story. But so that was my first time traveling out of Africa, which is my story. It is a long story, so I'm not going to talk about that. But so long story short, I met my husband here. I live in New Orleans. I met my husband, and we traveled together to France. I love it. I just love traveling, and we had a wonderful time. He's from France, so traveling from somebody that knows the area is a good thing, because they can show you so many things and they speak the language and everything. But I did travel by myself twice to Africa, which was terrifying, but I did it. You know, I did it. Traveling it took 3 days to get to my country. It's like, man, it was terrifying, but I did it. It just gives you the confidence though, because at first I was so so afraid of doing it. The first time I was so afraid of doing it because my husband couldn't come with me. He came with me the third time, but I had to do it the first time, and I had to just do it because it was necessary for me to do it. It was terrifying, but it gave me the confidence that yes, you can do it, you know. Challenging, but my dream is to be able to travel by myself, you know, all over the world, maybe with girlfriends, and go meet people, and go to Egypt and see the pyramids. Those are all my dreams. So that's why I'm working towards, you know, becoming financially free so that I can be able to travel, have the independence to travel. But I love this topic. Thank you.
Where
Thank you
did
for
you
that,
meet
Binta.
Binta?
What?
Go ahead.
When did you meet your husband?
I met him in 2000. So we've been together for a long time.
But where did you meet him?
In New Orleans.
Oh, in New Orleans.
We met right here in New Orleans, yes.
Oh, I see. I just
At
wanted to
at the music festival. What?
Oh, that's actually incredible. I cannot wait to meet you girls in New Orleans.
I know, yeah.
I'm
So
coming there in May. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to add one more thing to traveling alone. Actually, I have one story about traveling alone, and it's my daughter traveling alone, not with the backpack, but with the suitcase. She was under age of 18 when we sent her. When she went by herself during the winter to France and then to Poland to visit family, and we had to lie when we were buying a ticket. We had to put her age on the online ticketing that she's 1 year older in order to buy the ticket, because the system didn't allow us buy the ticket. And we've been traveling to Europe sometimes twice a year. So for my daughter traveling to Europe, it's like for somebody else just walking to the school. Okay, so she knows how to go at the airports, and it's like not a big deal. She was always very independent also. But again, there is me and my husband, parents, and ask me how many times I saw the movie called Taken. So then there is my daughter traveling to Charles de Gaulle airport, and she needs to take the train. But at the end, we decided she's not gonna take the train to Paris, but she was to order Uber. Then you have to learn that in France, Uber is something like big no, because taxi drivers in France, they pay actually a fortune for their license to be taxi drivers. So the Uber drivers are in big dangers when they arrive to the airport, because that's the big money spot. And so, oh my gosh, we were thinking, no, we are brave. We know she can make it. Yes, but then we are seeing that story from the Taken, and so she made it. So that's, I guess, the only story for about somebody traveling alone. So, but she survived.
I guess it's part of a life journey, isn't it, to be traveling alone? Beth, Amy, I saw your hands up. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I love hearing the stories about the traveling alone, especially because it is an area, alone just in general, is an area that I've been working on for a zillion years. I'm not really an alone person. Sometimes I think I might have had a twin that didn't make it, because I love to always be with somebody or keeping company with somebody. Not because I have to, but I really enjoy it. And about 8 years ago, when my life imploded, my marriage imploded, I was really faced with this opportunity to practice being alone. And it was really a growing experience. So for me, it wasn't just, traveling began by just sitting in the other room, like outside of my bedroom. It was sitting in the den. That was like traveling by myself, just to learn how to be comfortable in this other space by myself. So I had that, and but since that time, my marriage is way better, and we celebrated our 30th anniversary. And part of my vision in the healing and growing journey was more travel and just expanding. And we're going to Italy in May, so that'll be my first trip to Italy. We're going to Paris in July, my first trip to Paris. So I'm living into the dream. I'm not being by myself, but it's big. This is big stuff for me. And I wanted to say one thing. You ladies from New Orleans, my daughter went to school at Tulane, and I've been there a million times, and I love it. A year and a half ago, I moved her up to Chicago, so that's where she is now. But one day I'll come to New Orleans, and I want to see you guys too. And thank you for sharing all your stories about the independence and the courage and the traveling, because I find it so inspiring. And Carla, I love seeing you living your dream and going on the cruises. It's like I'm cheer for you every day when I saw your pictures doing it. I know how much that you've wanted that, and I love seeing that come alive for you. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Isn't that empowering to be traveling by yourself? I mean, I would be scared, but really just the thought of it, the confidence. Silke, you wanted to say something.
Yes, absolutely. I just want to say to you ladies, your stories really light me up, and that's the very essence about travel. You know, you can speak to so many people, you meet so many people, and it connects you, it empowers you. And every single story is such a delight to listen to, because from every single story you take away a little bit for yourself. And what's coming through loud and clear from all of you ladies is the way travel lights you up, the way it enriches your life, and the way it brings joy into your life. And that's so important. And again, that's the reason why I've always continued traveling solo, even though I'm married, because there is just this feeling of freedom. And you know, when you're traveling on your own, it's all down to you, but also you've got all the choices. You can get up in the morning when you want to, you can do what you want, you can explore places, you can eat the food you want without ever having to ask once or compromise. So that's a really empowering thing to me. And especially if you're mixing it up maybe with traveling with other people as well, there's just so much richness to be found as well in those moments that you can just take for yourself, being by yourself, being for yourself. And all of you ladies have just shown me that it's brilliant. Yep. Kathleen, you've raised your hand.
Kathleen has her hands up. Go ahead, Kathleen.
It took me a while to figure out how to raise my hand. I love solo travel. I first did it in my 40s, and I went to Mexico by myself, and everybody thought I was crazy. But I've always been a traveler, and I've never really been very afraid. And I had wonderful experiences. I have friends that are still my friends from Mexico today. And I don't think I traveled alone for a while, but I did do a 6 months, which I've mentioned before, 6-month trip through the Southwest. So, you know, driving across the country, staying in my Airstream, or when I sold the Airstream, staying in motels or Airbnbs, and then I bought another trailer. And so that really was inspirational to me, because I saw so many women in their 60s, in their 50s, 60s, 70s, traveling by themselves and driving these huge rigs or pulling, you know, a huge trailer. And it was just beautiful. Our culture teaches us, like Silke said, you know, that we need a man to help us. to do these things. Oh, what am I going to do if, you know, something breaks down? Well, you Google it, and you watch YouTube videos, and you learn how to do it. And there are plenty of groups, and I would like it if Carla, if you wouldn't mind posting that group, that 50 over 50 solo travel group that you mentioned in the chat. I'd love to join that group. But it's empowering. You meet so many people that you probably wouldn't have met if you were traveling with other people. And it really builds your self-confidence. It makes you more independent and stronger. You do have to be careful, obviously, especially as you get older, but we do become more fearful the older we get as well. And so the key is to overcoming your fears and just pushing through. If it's something you want to do. I mean, if it's not something you don't want to do, then don't do it. But if it is something you want to do, if you want to travel, don't wait until you find a partner to do it with. Don't wait until one of your friends is available to go with you. Just go, and you'll meet people, you'll make new friends, and you'll have an excellent time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Kathleen. Absolutely. It's such an empowering journey, isn't it, Silke, to do that alone backpacking? Like I said, I probably wouldn't do it like you said. I'm so used to traveling with other people, with my family. So, but it is amazing. Val, go ahead. Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes, thank you, Kathleen, for those comments, and especially talking about overcoming fears. I mean, when I came over to the state, I can literally say I had no fear. Absolutely no fear, because I entered the country with $5 in my pocket. The person I intended to go to, who had given me an address, didn't know that I was coming. And I was coming from Athens. So I was traveling like 15 hours. And then I remember like it was yesterday, I landed in New York. I'm hungry a bit. So I went to McDonald's and I got a $1 burger. So from $5, I was down to $4. And then it was, getting another flight, which was paid already, but another flight to Atlanta. And then I had to call my friend from Atlanta because I had a phone number. And thank God he was home. At that time, there was no cell phone. I called from the payphone, putting the quarters into the into the phone. And thank God he picked up, and he said, "Val, where are you?" I said, "I'm in Atlanta. I'll be in New Orleans about an hour and a half. Please pick me up." And so he, out of the blue, picked me up, slept on the couch, and he's like, "What are you up to?" And I'm like, "Well, I just arrived. I have no money, so I'm gonna figure it out." So the amount of the no fear is essential when you do stuff like that. It's to have courage and faith that you're gonna make it. Something good is going to happen, and something good did happen, and I even found love, and then a year after I was married, and I made it to the States.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's amazing, Val. Thank you. I saw Omeka and I saw Binta, but before I do that, I'd like to hear from my friends. Tammy, go ahead, Tammy, and then Jeannie. And then after that, I'll come back to you.
There we go. I think I'm unmuted now. Well, it's been interesting and fascinating listening to some of you that are a lot more courageous than I am. But when I think about solo travel, I think you and Jeannie and I would agree that through our work from 1990 on, I traveled throughout the US independently for work. And it was interesting in that while I get there, I tried to go a day early and hop on a bus or take a hike through or walk through the city that I was in and try to explore. So I always took as much advantage of that as I could. But again, there was structure in that I was going for a meeting that had a hotel and food and everything was covered that way. So not the backpacking. But I have had several opportunities to go like to Tokyo, to Lisbon, Portugal, and London, and Seoul, South Korea, that I was going to visit, or that was a business I was in after I left higher education, that we were international in basis. So it's interesting, but I would say that almost all, except for London and Seoul, all of them were work related, but it still gives you, as you've related, you're independently, you need to solve your own problems. You can't look to a group or another person to solve your problems for you. Just getting out and becoming more aware of people, whether in other parts of the United States. And we've been to New Orleans quite often, and love it, love it, love it. So every time, and other places throughout the whole US. But I think even though most of mine was work related, it still does give you that sense of adventure and, planning it, knowing what you need with you, and anticipating what might happen along the way. But also, I was a single mom for a lot of years, 12, 13 years. And we have pets, cats, dogs, everything. So it's interesting because when you have those responsibilities at home, that making certain that's all taken care of while you're gone. And then that also a connection back to make sure everybody's okay. I was leaving teenage boys at home by themselves to cook for themselves and clean and take after all the pets that we had. So, and that instilled, yes, I have boys, I don't have girls, but that instilled a lot in them, and me saying, hey, this is what you're responsible for while I'm gone. Call me if you have questions, and just really setting them up to say, oh, we can do this without mom being here 24/7. And I was very grateful for friends and neighbors that checked in on them, or if they missed the bus, they made sure they got to school, which only happened once. And they actually called the person and said, we need a ride to school. So there's, I know a number of you talked about responsibilities at home that keep you from going. And I certainly think that is something we need to be aware of. And what are the options that we can do. So I've traveled widely with family, with sisters, brothers, and my husband, my current husband. And so that's been all over the world, and certainly just love exploring new places, and the culture and the food, and just the beauty of the places that we stay. So certainly believe travel is something that everyone should have an opportunity to do, and take advantage, whether it's solo or with other people.
Thank you for that, Tammy, for your share. I see Binta and Loveland, but I'd like to hear from Jeannie first. Jeannie, go ahead. Thank you, Tammy.
She goes by both, right, Tammy?
Yes, I do. Yes,
the nice thing about traveling, and especially professionally traveling, like Tammy is talking about, and she did such a great job on that, is that you become friends with people far away. I'm in Tennessee. Tammy was in Virginia, Washington, D.C. at one time. You're in North Carolina now, I believe, in North Carolina. And so when it came and I'm a single parent like Tammy, I think a lot of us get into that role. I have not remarried. Tammy was braver than me and has found a wonderful person. But anyway, my relationship with Tammy, I will talk about traveling and making friends and connections. She actually, when my daughter was a junior in college, I think. Rebecca is the daughter, and she had an internship in Washington, D.C. And Tammy, at a meeting one time that we were at a conference, said, I was telling her about it, and I said, scares me to death to put her, in D.C. So Tammy invited her to her home, and she took Rebecca, my daughter, to her work every day and picked her up every day. And I think Rebecca sort of helped with the boys in return. And so there are those connections that last a lifetime. And we all keep up with each other, mostly through social media. But it's just been a wonderful connection. So traveling, whether it's overseas in the States, with family or with friends or whatever, make those wonderful connections that I say I have more friends distant friends than I think I do within the communities I've lived in. So it's valuable. It helps you grow. And yes, getting on that plane for the first time and making arrangements and getting there. And when you get to the hotel, I remember I went, phew, I made it the first time. But once you get over that, you do get more courageous. And you learn to take care of yourself. I know one of my trips to, I think it was New Orleans, if I remember correctly, I became ill and I had to make arrangements to find a drugstore to pick up meds and like that. So you do take care of yourself. You do learn. You learn to use concierge or information booths, whatever they call them, wherever you are. And you just kind of learn to take care of yourself and know that it is okay, that you can live comfortably as much on the road as you can at home if you allow yourself permission to do that. And I'm excited. I have a trip coming up in June to England, and while there we will go to Scotland and Ireland. So I'm excited for that. I'm not traveling alone. I'm traveling with family. I've traveled a lot with family. I admire backpacking. I just think that's just courageous, and I hope someday you feel courageous enough to do that. It's exciting. It's an exciting opportunity, and that's about all I have to say.
Thank you, Jeannie, for your share. I see Binta. After that, I'll go to Lovelyn because I know you had your hands up. So Binta, and then Lovelyn, and then Jane after that.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. I just wanted to say that we're talking about traveling alone, but for me, what gave me courage to travel to Africa twice by myself, even though it was terrifying, I knew that I wasn't alone. We talk about being alone, but I wasn't alone. I was being guided, I was being guided by God, by the universe, and I knew that everything was going to be okay. And along the way, you see the signs of, who's helping you, who's asking you, what do you need, where are you going? So all those signs came to me. So you're never alone we are never alone. Even right here, you get out of your house and you're going somewhere, you're never alone. Here in the New Orleans, I go places by myself, and I always say, just guide me, even if I don't know where I'm going. So we're never alone. We talk about being alone, but we're never alone. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Binta, for that share. Lovelyn, you're next.
Well, thank you so much for this interesting topic. I am from Africa, personally, like Binta. And the very first time that I traveled, I was a teenager when I was traveling to Europe to go and study. And I traveled solo on my own. I didn't know where I was going. Well, I had a definite destination in London, but it was scary. I almost missed my flight. But the good thing about solo travel, what I've noticed is that I travel a lot these days from Africa to United States to Europe. I love it so much because it has built my confidence. I've spoken to so many people. I find myself asking people to take my photograph at the airport, people that I don't know. I just give them my phone. Can you please take my photo? That confidence alone is something I didn't have before. And I've made so many friends on the flights. Many of the friends that I have, I've made them at the airport, some of them on the flight. I find myself speaking to so many people. I don't travel with my husband most of the time because each time I travel with him, will ask me to do a lot of things for him. So he will now stay back and have to book tickets, have to do everything for him, check in while he's staying back and relaxing. So I say to myself, I'd rather travel solo and then get that freedom that I deserve as a person and do my own things, meet people, speak to so many people, make friends, and move on. So it is very interesting to travel solo. I don't see anything wrong with it. I know it is very scary. Many people think that, how will I get to this destination and go to a cafe and order a coffee and just sit there by myself? But it is normal for you to get a cup of coffee and just sit there. If you have headphones, you put them on, or a book or a novel, and just read and carry on as normal. But the beautiful thing about it is the confidence that it gives you and it builds, to the point that you have to ask so many people to make sure that you're heading in the right direction, you know. And as you speak to people, you make friends, that fear leaves you, and then you gather that confidence and move on. So I would encourage everybody to just embark on that journey of solo travel. It's very beautiful and empowering and gives you that freedom that you like as a person and you deserve.
Thank you for that, Lovelyn. That's amazing. Thank you. And Jane, you're next. And then I'm going to ask Maryam to say something after that.
Wow, what a wonderful topic this is. It's really something that I don't think about a lot, because I tend to have my go-to people that I travel with, my girlfriends.
Hey Jane, your voice is
and it's oh, really?
Okay, that's better. You're frozen now. Hello. Okay, maybe what did I say?
Is it, can you hear me?
It's still yeah, the voice is cracking.
It's cracking. I know
it's better now.
Just started. Is it better?
Yes.
Okay. Can you? Okay. Wonderful topic. It kind of reminds me of
Rini, cut her video, maybe it will help.
What is it? Oh,
maybe
I
the
think
video.
Kasia said to take off your video.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it help any?
Bus time.
Okay.
It helped a little
No,
bit. Yeah.
not so much.
Yeah, it's better.
Helps a little bit. Okay. So it just quickly, I many moons ago, living in New York, being raised in New York State, had the chance of a lifetime to take a job in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was a single mom, and I took it. And I took my 3 sons, and I drove a 24-foot moving van with my car in tow, and down I went. And it was the, the job of my dreams for a number of years. And I'm back up in New York now, but I forgot about how brave that girl was, and I just want to say this too, because I think of this from time to time, that I think it was John Kabat-Zinn who said, "Wherever you go, there you are," right? And I think COVID kind of helped us realize that, wow, maybe we can't travel, but we can travel in our dreams. We can travel National Geographic. We can talk to one another. And so maybe redefining, or for myself, I have redefined travel. But yes, I want to go on an excursion, and this is so enlightening. Now I'm ready to book with VRBO. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Jane. I know that we only have a few more minutes, but I'd like to hear from each one of you. So if you need to leave, go ahead, and we may be a little bit over. I said I was going to have Maryam and then Tony. Go ahead, Maryam.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Rainy, for inviting me. So I'm listening to these wonderful stories of wonderful you guys. I've traveled a lot in my life, but for me, it was always like, I don't want to travel alone because I felt that I'm not getting the experience that if I had traveled with someone else, because you always want to share it with someone that you're close to, this beauty of this whole earth and everything, all the experiences. So as a matter of fact, like it's been 2 years, I have a reservation in Kabul. I just don't have anybody to go with me and I haven't been going. So for me, I am more into, I'm not saying that you have to be couple. I understand that part. When you say travel solo, I meant that I felt that you guys talking about going as a woman by yourself without your husband or boyfriend or a family. But I still want to be in a group or friends or someone I can share my experience with.
Yes, I think it's a matter of preference, but thank you for that. If there's nothing wrong, if you want to go with somebody else, yeah, me too. I think I'm more like you, Miriam. Tony, you're next.
Good morning, ladies. How's it going? Happy
Good.
Thursday. What a great
Yes.
conversation. Well, I think I'm completely the opposite because I couldn't wait to leave home and I couldn't wait to hit the road and I couldn't wait to see the world. So I think that might be the gypsy in me. I'm not sure. I actually find it extremely limiting traveling with people because there's just so much I want to do and so much I want to see. And then I find I have to compromise constantly to, think of other people's feelings and their limitations and their fears. And I'm just kind of like going, what's there to fear? Right? It's just a really interesting conversation for me. I really appreciate all that the women have shared because I witnessed that so much when I was traveling, and I've seen the women that finally have had the courage to kind of do something on their own, and I've talked to women who won't go and travel on their own, and it's a very interesting conversation. And so I encourage those of you who think that there is, these possibilities of what if in the fear category. What about the possibilities of what if in the beauty and the things that you never would have been able to see or hear or experience? So I just hope that helps because I think the conversation is really important because I think that's where a lot of my confidence came from, was traveling on my own. So anyway, I really encourage this for those to continue. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Tony. I'm hearing voice here. I don't know who's where it comes from.
They have chairs there for a while.
Looks like it's Jay.
Yeah. Something like along those lines.
Where did it come from?
It's Jane. Gotta mute her.
It's
okay.
Jane.
Okay, that's it. We are running out of time. Does anyone else want to say anything? Because otherwise I'm going to turn it over to Silke to close this out. Esther or Faith or Suzanne, who haven't had a chance to say anything? Okay, I guess not. So Silke, thank you so much. It's been such an amazing conversation. I'm going to give it back to you before we say goodbye to everyone. And I just want to thank all of you here, all of your stories, all of your, it's a matter of preference, whether you travel as a group or you travel by yourself, but it does have that empowering qualities when you're by yourself, that freedom and the ability to choose to do whatever you want to do. But with that, anybody else? Silke, you have the floor.
Well, thank you, Rini. And thank you to all of you ladies for your amazing stories. It's really, once again, shown me that the solo travel aspect is really so important. And like I started off with, that it's a great way of empowering yourself, especially as a woman, and to gain more confidence in every aspect of your life, business and personal, really. And I know it's been such an amazing conversation. There hasn't really been much time for me to talk about my trip to the USA like I promised. So at the moment, I'm writing a book about my trip. So hopefully that will be finished soon, and you all can actually read all the anecdotes and all the things that have happened, some of the amazing stories that have happened, some of the unbelievable stories that have happened. And the trip was a real love child of mine, because I thought it up at home. It was the first time out of Europe for myself, because I traveled extensively, but only ever on the European continent. So the first time ever leaving Europe. And I did it entirely on the budget, because I wanted to recreate my early teenage days, when I used to go very similar to Val, with just a few bucks in my pocket. And I had my plane ticket arranged, I had the Amtrak ticket arranged, but nothing apart from that. I had a subscription to couch surfing, and I was on a couple of the Facebook groups. Like one of the groups actually got mentioned there, the Over 50s Travel, where women connect with one another to put each other up, offer each other their homes. And that's all I had. I didn't even have any savings. I went out of my ordinary household budget. And I told my husband on such and such stage to release some money. So it was really recreating the early days. I mean, I turned up in Los Angeles with 10 bucks in my pocket. And I had a backpacking hostel arranged there, but that was it. So I actually walked like 8 miles from Union Station to Koreatown with my backpack on, because at that time I thought, well, I can save that $1.75 for the bus. So it was an amazing experience, and I just wanted to recreate that original trust again. Because I must admit, as I've got older, it's been getting a little bit lazy. Oh, well, a hotel seems a good option tonight, or, so I thought, let's do this all again, just to backpack myself and a minimum budget. And it was an amazing experience. I placed my trust into the universe, and it delivered. I had a roof over my head every single night of those 6 weeks, even though nothing had been arranged beforehand. So, and that's a very important message for me to give to people, that, even in real life, when you're not traveling in day-to-day life, when you just place your trust in the universe, somehow things will always work out. And that's what traveling solo also teaches you a lot. It gives you back that faith in the universe, that somebody always has your back there. And it's been really amazing listening to the stories. It really lights me up. So look out for when I release the book, which will be hopefully this spring. I'm a little bit behind because of some personal circumstances over Christmas, but yeah, so I'm releasing that book. Also in my Inner Hippie books, I'm currently putting together a multi-author book, a compilation of travel stories of solo travelers. So look it up if you want to find out more. And apart from that, it's always lovely to be here. I always love being in this group, and you ladies are just so beautiful. You have such a beautiful energy.
Thank you so much, Silke. That's you're inspiring for me and for many of us. I think all of you, with your unique story and your it's a journey, just like life. We go through different phases. We go through this I think this traveling solo is kind of the same thing as journey in life, about not being scared and all that. But this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you again, everyone, especially Silke, for presenting today. So have a great week, everyone. Today is Thursday, right? Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.